My ex said let us be friends, then called me at 2 a.m. begging for rescue. So I told her I was coming and went back to sleep when my ex-girlfriend dumped me 3 weeks ago. Her final words were, "But we can still be good friends, right? I don't want to lose you completely." So when she called me sobbing at 2 a.m. stranded on a highway, I told her I am on my way and then turned off my phone and went back to sleep. I am Mason, 28, been working as an electrician for the past 6 years. My ex-girlfriend Haley, 25, managed a retail store downtown. We dated for about 8 months before she decided she needed to figure herself out and dumped me 3 weeks ago. The breakup itself wasn't that surprising. Honestly, she had been acting distant for weeks, always on her phone when we hung out, making excuses not to spend the night at my place. When she finally pulled the trigger, her exact words were, "Mason, I need space to figure myself out. This relationship is holding me back from discovering who I really am." I am sitting there on my couch thinking, okay, fair enough. I am not going to beg someone to stay who doesn't want to be there. Relationships end. It happens. But then came the part that really pissed me off. But we can still be good friends, right? I mean, we have such a great connection. I don't want to lose you completely. You are such an important person in my life. I looked at her sitting on my couch, the couch I bought in my apartment where she had been basically living rent-free for 3 months, eating food from my fridge, and realized what this really was. She wanted to keep me around as her emotional support backup plan while she went off to discover herself. Of course, sure thing, I told her with the most genuine smile I could manage. What I was thinking was, are you kidding me? You just told me I am holding you back from being your true self. But now you want me as your free therapist and emergency contact. Yeah, we will see how that friendship works out. Since the breakup, I have been treating her exactly like what she asked for. A distant friend when she texts asking how was your day. I respond with good or fine. She has been getting increasingly frustrated that I am not being her emotional dumping ground anymore. "You are being so cold to me," she texted me last week. "I thought we were going to be friends." "We are friends," I replied. This is how I talk to my friends. Which was true. I don't spend hours listening to my buddy Trevor complain about his job or analyzing his relationship problems. Friends say what is up, hang out occasionally, and mind their own business. Last Tuesday night around 2:17 a.m., my phone started ringing. I was dead asleep after pulling a 12-hour shift running new electrical in an office building across town. The caller ID showed Haley's name. I almost didn't answer. Nothing good happens at 2 a.m. "Mason, oh my God, I am so sorry to wake you up, but I really need your help." She was crying, sounded genuinely distressed. Her voice was shaky, and I could hear wind and traffic in the background. "What is wrong?" Derek left me stranded. I am on Highway 45 near the old Walmart, and it is starting to rain. My phone's about to die, and I don't know who else to call. Derek. I had heard about this guy through mutual friends. Some wannabe street racer with a souped-up Honda who thought he was in Fast and Furious. Apparently, he had been the real reason for her needing space. She just hadn't been honest about it. He just drove off and left you there. We went to this underground racing thing out past the industrial district. Derek was showing off, trying to race this guy with a Mustang. We got in a huge fight because I told him it was stupid and dangerous. He told me to find my own way home and just peeled out. "Mason, it is about to storm really bad. Can you please come pick me up? You are the only person I trust." I could see lightning flashing outside my bedroom window, and thunder was getting louder. Part of me actually felt bad for her. Nobody deserves to be abandoned on a highway at 2 a.m., especially with a storm coming. But then I remembered her sitting on my couch 3 weeks ago. This relationship is holding me back. Let's just be friends. All those times she had blown me off to hang out with Derek and his crew while still expecting me to be her emotional support system. Oh wow, that really sucks, Haley. Yeah, I will be right there. Just hang tight. Really? Oh, thank God. Thank you so much. I knew I could count on you. You are such a good friend. No problem at all. I am getting dressed right now. Should be there in like 30 minutes tops. Just stay safe and watch for my truck. Thank you, thank you. I will keep an eye out for your headlights. Drive carefully. Drive carefully up. When I woke up at 6 a.m. for work, my phone had 47 missed calls and 23 text messages. The progression was beautiful to watch. It started around 2:35 a.m. with her asking if I was close and mentioning that it was really starting to rain. 13 minutes later, she was wondering where I was and saying she couldn't see my truck anywhere. By 3:02 a.m., she was getting worried, telling me it was pouring and asking again where I was. That is when the panic really set in. At 3:15, she was texting in all caps demanding to know where the hell I was. By 3:28, she was furious, saying she had been standing there for over an hour. The messages got nastier after that, calling me a piece of shit at 3:45, then telling me she hoped I would rot in hell around 4:12 a.m. The last message came at 4:38, and by then the anger had turned back to desperation. She was soaked and freezing, asking how I could do this to her. She was apparently soaked to the bone, shivering, and absolutely furious when he found her. According to my buddy Trevor, who heard the story from Derek's friend Marcus, Haley ended up standing in the rain for almost 2.5 hours before Derek's guilty conscience kicked in and he came back for her. She was apparently soaked to the bone, shivering, and absolutely furious when he found her. Around lunchtime, I texted her back, "Sorry, fell asleep after I got dressed. Long day at work yesterday. Glad you got home safe though." She didn't respond for 3 days. When she finally did, it was a long paragraph about how hurt and disappointed she was, how she had trusted me, how this proved I never really cared about her. I replied with, "That sucks. Hope your phone didn't get water damaged." I figured that would be the end of it. She would finally understand that I wasn't going to be her backup plan, and we could go our separate ways. I was completely wrong. What happened 3 months later showed me just how wrong I was, and it led to the most satisfying moment of my entire life. Update 1, sorry for the late update guys. Had to help my buddy Trevor move apartments this weekend, and his new place doesn't have Wi-Fi set up yet. So for about 3 months after the highway incident, Haley went mostly silent. A few passive-aggressive social media posts that were obviously about me, but no direct contact. I actually thought she would finally gotten the message. Then my cousin Jake got engaged to his longtime girlfriend Emily. Jake's a police officer, been on the force for about 5 years. Really solid dude. We grew up together and stayed close even after high school. Their wedding was planned for this past October, big outdoor ceremony at this fancy venue outside town. I was excited to go. Jake and I are pretty close, and I hadn't been to a good party in months. Plus, open bar and my whole extended family would be there. Here is where it gets complicated. Emily works in HR at the same company where Haley's sister Rachel works in accounting. Small town, everyone knows everyone. So when Emily was putting together the guest list, she included some of her work friends, including Rachel, and Rachel asked if she could bring her sister as her +1. I had no idea Haley would be there until I saw her across the reception area during cocktail hour. The wedding itself was beautiful. Emily looked amazing in her dress. Jake was practically crying during the vows. The whole thing was perfect. I was having a great time catching up with relatives I hadn't seen in months, drinking good beer, and enjoying the party. Then I spotted a familiar face. Haley was wearing this tight red dress and hanging on the arm of some heavily tattooed guy I had never seen before. This dude looked like he had walked straight out of a Sons of Anarchy episode. Full sleeve tattoos, leather jacket despite it being 75 degrees, multiple facial piercings, the whole intimidating biker aesthetic. I am thinking, what are the odds? But whatever. It is a big reception. I will just stay on my side of the party and avoid any drama. Haley sees me at the same time I see her. The smile immediately drops off her face, and she gets this bitter, angry expression. She starts whispering something to her tattooed boyfriend, pointing in my direction, while trying to look casual about it. I just shrug and turn back to my conversation with my uncle about his new fishing boat. I am not about to let my ex ruin Jake's wedding day. About 20 minutes later, while I am at the bar getting another beer, this tattooed guy comes walking up to me. He is trying to look intimidating, puffing his chest out, walking with this exaggerated swagger, like he is about to start some shit. "Yo, you Mason, Yeah, who is asking? I am Axel. He says it like I should be impressed or something. I heard you are the piece of shit who left my girl stranded on the highway. I look over his shoulder and see Haley watching us from across the reception, arms crossed, with this smug expression, like she is about to watch me get my ass kicked. Your girl? You mean Haley? Yeah, Haley. She told me all about how you abandoned her in a thunderstorm. Real tough guy, huh? Leaving a woman alone on the side of the road. The guy is clearly trying to start something. But honestly, he didn't look that intimidating up close. He was maybe 5'8", probably 160 pounds soaking wet. All the tattoos and leather couldn't hide the fact that he looked like he had never been in a real fight in his life. Listen, Popeye, I don't know what story she told you, but don't call me Popeye. He gets in my face, trying to chest bump me. I see Haley walking over with this satisfied grin, like she is enjoying the show. Mason, if you apologize to me right now and mean it, she says loud enough for people around us to hear. I might tell Axel to back off, but you better make it sincere. I just started laughing. I couldn't help it. The whole situation was so ridiculous. Are you delusional? You think I am scared of this wannabe tough guy? Axel's face turns red. Wannabe? Wannabe? Call whoever you want. Tough guy. I will fight you and all your friends. You sure about that? Yeah, I am sure. Bring him on. I don't give a shit how many people you call. I grin at him. All right, bet. I turn around and yell across the reception. Jake, come here for a second. Need to introduce you to someone. Haley's face goes white. I guess she suddenly remembered whose wedding we were at and who my cousin is. Jake walks over in his full dress uniform, looking every inch the cop he is. I don't understand why he suddenly changed into a military uniform, but whatever. It doesn't matter. He is about 6'2", built like a brick shithouse from years of CrossFit, and has this natural authority that makes people want to behave themselves. Even at his own wedding, he carries himself like a police officer. What is up, cuz? Everything okay over here? I gesture to Axel, who suddenly doesn't look quite as confident. This gentleman here was just telling me how he wants to fight me and all my friends. Thought you might want to hear about his plans. Jake looks at Axel with that cop stare. You know the one, where they are sizing you up and deciding whether you are worth their time. That right? You threatening my cousin at my wedding reception? Axel tries to backpedal, but his voice cracks a little. Nah, man, it is not like that. This dude disrespected my girl. So you are causing a disturbance at my wedding reception? By now, other guests are starting to gather around us. Some of Jake's cop buddies, my uncles, Emily's family. Everyone's watching this unfold. Sir, I am going to need you to calm down, Jake says in his official police voice. This is a private event, and you are making threats toward other guests. I wasn't threatening nobody. I was just talking. But 3 other wedding guests had heard the whole thing, including my uncle Mike, who is a union foreman and doesn't miss anything. And they were happy to tell Jake exactly what Axel had said about fighting me and all my friends. Madam. Jake turns to Haley. Is this your guest? He is my boyfriend, she says. But you can tell she is starting to realize this isn't going how she planned. Well, your boyfriend just made threats of violence at my wedding. That is a problem. Long story short, both Axel and Haley got escorted off the property. Jake didn't arrest them himself. That would have been a conflict of interest. But he called in 2 of his colleagues who were working security for the venue. As they are walking Axel toward the police car in handcuffs, I couldn't resist. Damn, your mouth really is bigger than your balls, huh? The wedding guests actually started applauding as they drove away. My Aunt Susan came up to me afterwards, laughing. Mason, only you could get someone arrested at a wedding just by introducing them to the groom. But that wasn't the end of it, not even close. What Haley did after getting arrested at my cousin's wedding made me realize I had been dealing with someone who was genuinely unhinged all along. Update 2: been pulling 14-hour days this week installing electrical for a new apartment complex. Finally got time to update you guys. The responses to my last post have been insane. So after the wedding arrest, I figured Haley would finally leave me alone. Getting arrested at a fancy wedding reception is pretty humiliating, especially when it is because your boyfriend tried to start a fight and got shut down immediately. I was completely wrong about that. 2 weeks after the wedding, weird stuff started happening. My Instagram and Facebook were getting strange comments from accounts with generic names and no profile pictures. Nothing directly threatening, just weird shit. Like what goes around comes around, and karma doesn't forget. I blocked them and didn't think much of it. Then I started noticing the same white Honda Civic driving past my job sites. I work construction, electrical, so I am at different locations around town, depending on the project. The thing about construction work is that our schedules get posted on the company website for clients and inspectors. Anyone can look up where Mason Kowalski from Hartman Electric is working on any given day. At first, I thought it was coincidence. White Honda Civics are everywhere. But then my coworker Danny pointed it out. Dude, that same car has driven by like 4 times in the past hour. Chick behind the wheel keeps slowing down to look at our truck. Sure enough, it was Haley. She would drive by slowly, park across the street for a few minutes, sometimes get out and take pictures of our work truck and the job site. My supervisor started asking questions. Mason, you having personal problems that are going to become company problems? Because we cannot have people stalking our job sites. Clients get nervous about security. The worst part was when she started showing up at my apartment complex. She had sit in her car in the visitor parking, just watching my building. My neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, asked me about it. Mason, there is a young woman who has been asking questions about you. She said she was your girlfriend and was worried because you weren't answering your phone. She seemed very upset. What kind of questions? When you come home from work, if you have other women over, things like that. I told her I mind my own business. Then she started calling my mom. My mom calls me up, confused as hell. Mason, this girl Haley called me crying. She said you two broke up, but now she is scared of you. She asked me if you have ever been violent. What is she talking about, Mom? She is my ex-girlfriend, and she has been stalking me since we broke up. She is lying. She sounded very upset. She said something happened at a wedding where you threatened her. My mom knows me well enough to realize Haley was lying, but it still pissed me off that she was dragging my family into her breakdown. The final straw came 6 weeks after the wedding. I am at home Saturday morning drinking coffee when 2 police officers knock on my door asking about an incident with Haley Morrison. She filed a report claiming you assaulted her at a wedding last month. One of them says, my stomach drops, but I let them in and tell them the truth. Her boyfriend tried to start a fight with me. My cousin Jake had them both removed, and I haven't spoken to her since. Any witnesses? About 50. It was my cousin's wedding. I give them Jake's contact info along with my Uncle Mike and 3 other people who saw everything. They take notes and say they will be in touch. One of the officers takes notes while the other one looks around my apartment, like he is expecting to find evidence of something. Mr. Kowalski, Ms. Morrison claims you cornered her by the bar and grabbed her arm aggressively. She says you threatened to make her pay for bringing her boyfriend to the wedding. That is completely false. I was getting a beer when her boyfriend approached me. She came over to join the conversation. I never touched her, never threatened her. My cousin has the whole thing on video if you want to see it. Video. The venue has security cameras everywhere. Jake, Officer Kowalski, had them save the footage in case there were any issues with the arrest. The officers exchange a look. We will need to see that footage. 2 days later, Jake calls me up. Mason, you are not going to believe this shit. I just spent 3 hours going through security footage with those detectives who came to see you. What did they find? Everything you said happened exactly the way you said it happened. The video shows Axel approaching you first. Shows Haley walking over to join the conversation. Shows her pointing at you while talking to him. At no point do you touch her or corner her. She actually approaches you, not the other way around. So I am clear, completely clear. But Mason, there is more. The detectives asked me to review her statement in detail, and there are problems with her story beyond just the video evidence. Jake explains that Haley claimed the assault happened around 8 p.m., but the timestamp on the video shows the confrontation happened at 6:47 p.m., and both she and Axel were already gone by 7:15. She also claimed I followed her to her car in the parking lot, but the venue's parking lot cameras show that never happened. The detective handling the case says this isn't just a bad breakup anymore. She is filing false police reports, and that is a felony. They are recommending charges. Sheely was arrested at her retail job on charge. According to Jake, she lost her job immediately. Apparently having the police show up at your workplace to arrest you doesn't look good to corporate management. But here is the best part. Axel, the tattooed boyfriend, who was going to fight me and all my friends, dumped her the day after she got arrested. Turns out even wannabe tough guys have standards about dating someone who files false police reports. The court date was set for 3 months later, but I had a feeling this story was far from over. And I was right, because what happened next made everything else look like child's play. Final update work finally slowed down enough to give you guys the final update on this insane situation. The court hearing was 6 months ago now. Haley showed up with a public defender and pled guilty to filing a false police report in exchange for the prosecutor dropping additional charges they could have filed for harassment and stalking. She got 8 months probation, 120 hours of community service, and had to pay a $2,500 fine plus court costs. She also had to agree to a 2-year restraining order. Jake told me that Haley lost her job at the retail store because of the arrest. Apparently having a criminal record for lying to police doesn't look good when you are in customer service, especially when it involves stalking your ex-boyfriend. Who knew? She also had to move back in with her parents, since she couldn't afford rent without her job. Her whole life basically imploded over this petty revenge bullshit against me for not being her emotional support backup plan. The restraining order meant she could contact me directly, could come within 500 feet of my home or workplace, and could post about me on social media. For about 8 months, everything was quiet. For about 8 months, I got a friend request on Facebook from someone named Jessica Miller with a generic flower photo as the profile picture. Something about it felt off, so I ignored it. A few days later, Jessica sent me a message. "Hey Mason, I think we have mutual friends. Would love to reconnect and catch up sometime." I was about to delete it when I noticed something weird about the writing style. It sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. I did some digging into the profile. It was created 3 weeks ago. Had maybe 5 friends total, and all the photos were generic stock images. Then Jessica sent another message. "I know this might seem weird, but I have been going through a really hard time lately. I am in therapy now and working on myself. I really miss talking to you. You were always such a good listener." That phrase, good listener, that is exactly what Haley used to say about me when she wanted me to listen to her problems for hours. Then came the third message. "I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I have changed so much. I realize now how badly I treated you. Can we please just talk? I promise, I am different now." Now I was sure it was her, but I needed proof before I did anything about it. I screenshot everything and sent it to my cousin Jake. "Does this look familiar to you?" Jake called me back an hour later laughing his ass off. "Mason, I ran the profile through our system. The account was created using the same IP address as Haley's parents' house. She is violating her restraining order." "What does that mean?" "It means she is going back to jail. Contacting someone you have a restraining order against, even through fake social media accounts, is a parole violation." Jake forwarded everything to Haley's probation officer, who apparently had been waiting for exactly this kind of thing. They arrested her the next day. When they searched her room at her parents' house for evidence, they found printed screenshots of all my social media posts for the past 1.5 years. Photos from my work sites, pictures I had posted of hanging out with friends, everything. She had been obsessively following my life, even while supposedly moving on and getting therapy. They also found a notebook where she had been tracking my work schedule by checking the company website daily. She had notes about what time I arrived at job sites, what days I worked late, which locations I had been at. It was like something out of a stalker movie. Showed me photos of what they had found. "Mason, This woman has been planning something. This isn't just missing you or whatever. This is obsessive behavior. She got sentenced to 45 days in county jail for violating her probation, plus another year added to her probation period, and mandatory psychological evaluation. It has been 2 months since she got out of jail. Haven't heard a peep from her or any mysterious new social media accounts. Maybe 45 days behind bars and court-ordered therapy finally convinced her to leave me alone. The whole situation taught me something important. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Haley showed me she was selfish and manipulative during the breakup when she wanted to keep me around as her emotional support system while she went off with another guy. I should have cut contact completely, instead of playing along with her friend's bullshit. She wanted to use me as her emergency backup plan while she was out having fun with Derek. And I gave her exactly what she deserved. A long, cold wait in the rain with nobody coming to save her. The rest was just karma working itself out. My cousin Jake still brings up the wedding incident whenever we are at family gatherings. Remember when Mason got that crazy chick arrested at my wedding just by introducing her boyfriend to me? It has become legendary family lore. Sometimes people ask me if I feel bad about what happened to her. Losing her job, getting arrested, having to move back in with her parents. But she made every single choice that led to those consequences. I didn't make her file false police reports. I didn't make her violate a restraining order. I didn't make her stalk my job sites and harass my family. All I did was treat her exactly like the friend she said she wanted to be.